Plan to bail out America's auto industry seems to be in trouble once again. We've learned earlier today that the White House and the Democratic-controlled Congress had reached an agreement, but now Republicans on the Hill are weighing in, and many of them are not happy at all. Let's go to our congressional correspondent, Dana Bash. She's been looking at this very important story. Seems to be a deal, no deal. What's the latest? What do we know, Dana?
Well, we know, Wolf, is that Bush aides worked for days and days with congressional Democratic aides coming up with this deal to help the auto industry, but it landed with a thud inside the Senate Republican caucus today. Even Republican senators who say they think that this is absolutely necessary, that they want this, they say right now it does not have the votes to pass the Senate.
Within minutes of a House Democratic decision to move forward on agreement with the White House to bail out auto companies, word from Senate Republicans, they may kill it.
Americans are not stupid. They know that this bailout is only a temporary solution.
White House Chief of Staff Josh Bolten and Vice President Dick Cheney rushed to Capitol Hill to try to sell the deal for Detroit to their fellow Senate Republicans. Several GOP senators described the closed-door meeting as intense. No sale yet.
I haven't made a final decision that I've announced myself.
Many Republicans in the still evenly divided Senate complain that the $14 billion bailout that Bush officials negotiated with congressional Democrats fails to guarantee that struggling auto companies must revamp to become competitive.
Isn't that, to use a common phrase, just ass backwards? $15 billion, and then later, after that's out the door, we'll see a detailed restructuring plan.
Under the bill filed in the House, a so-called car czar would bring together auto companies, unions, and other parts of the industry to come up with long-term restructuring plans by March 31st.
This is about the underpinnings of our economy and fundamentally whether we are going to compete with every other country.
In an attempt to lure Republicans, the czar was given the power to force car makers into bankruptcy if they don't revamp to become viable. Still, several Republicans say their biggest problem with the bailout is that the czar lacks enough power to mandate long-term change in Detroit.
How does anybody expect some car czar or some politician to be able to make the decisions that are right from a business standpoint for these car companies?
Now, as of now, the House is actually planning on voting on this evening, Wolf. And as for the Senate, a Democratic leadership aide says that they are furiously trying to come up with a process so that some Republican concerns can be addressed enough so that they can actually pass this at some point in the Senate. But again, at this point, it's looking very tough.
All right.